Siam Nisjalacha, raising my hands to each of you, um, thanking you for joining our Saturday, March 19th, 2022 meeting for the Gathering of the Eagles. Salkadab, Sanasnat. Just want to have start in a good way and have a prayer in your own way, if we could. Um, just pray in your own way, as Uncle Smitty used to say. We're just going to ask that each of you and your families be blessed. And we ask that our ancestors continue to guide us. We all have ancestors. It don't matter if we're tribal. We all have ancestors, and we all have had elders in our lives who are now with the ancestors. So there are elder ancestors that walked with us, and we just ask them to continue to guide us in a good way for our Gathering of the Eagles canoe encampment. Astitipsen, we're going to do this in the best way that we can, with the guidance and the protection. We know that we have COVID safety protocols. We know that a lot of our families are just beginning to get through the COVID pandemic here, and so we just pray to the Creator to bless each and every one of you, to bless your families. When you awaken your canoes, we ask that your canoe ceremony be blessed in a good way. We pray for the water, the earth, the sky, the fire that protects us, that's been with us since time immemorial. And Astitipsen, we're going to do this in the best way that we can. I just want a special prayer for all of our families right now that are in mourning, that have families in rest homes or incarcerated or struggling with alcohol and drugs. I just pray for them and their families, and pray that we continue to walk with our relatives, our ancestors, and we're going to get through this in a good way. So all my relations, ACM. Well, Haishka, thank you, everybody. I know we all could be someplace else, and so this is going to be recorded. You can find it on my YouTube channel. It's Freddie, Freddie, and it's Lane. You could just type in a Gathering of the Eagles meeting March 19th, 2022. And feel free to share it if somebody missed the meeting. I just want to go through really quick. If we have any questions, we'll try and save them for the end here. For our first time visitors, the Gathering of the Eagles is a grassroots canoe encampment. It's not a canoe journey. It's not sanctioned by the nation. It's a potlatch style gathering where all of our canoe families, there's only 15 canoes that are paddling through our traditional Lhaq'temish territory, which is known as the San Juan Islands. There are many sacred sites, sacred villages. Our flood story will visit the areas and have ceremony where our ancient canoes came down on the top of Mount Constitution on Orcas Island, and also on San Juan Island at Papilauath. It's called English Camp, which is on the north end of San Juan Island by Roach Harbor, if you know the area. Our gathering is, again, a canoe encampment. So all of our canoe paddlers, our canoe families, our skippers, we're doing this on our own. Our canoe families are going to provide their own food. But granted, we got some great people working on the ground at Lopez Island, on San Juan Island, and on Orcas Island. A lot of the campgrounds that we'll be staying at are state parks. Our friends there have already reserved the areas, and not to say that they're not cheap, but when you get 250 to 300 people coming, we have to worry about logistics, but they're helping take care of it. Our good friend Stephanie Buffum and Kai Sanburn on Lopez Island. We have Matthew on San Juan Island, and a family there agreed to allow us to come to shore right in Friday Harbor. The Oddfellows on Orcas Island, and our friends at Camp Orcala, the YMCA camp on the north end by East Sound, are fundraising so that your stay and the stay of the relatives that are coming to the gathering of the Eagles won't have to pay for their the state fees and the campground fees. And so we got really wonderful people on the ground. A good date to remember is 5/22/22. Just put that in your head. 5/22/22. It's less than 70 days away right now. And so we're getting down to finalizing. We have 9 canoes confirmed as of this date. I'll be putting out pre-registration event pages and out this next week. I promise Jeff Smith, my Makah elder, that I would do this just so we keep our good work going. 5/22/22 is a Sunday. We'll start at 7 a.m. We will go and depart Washington Park in Anacortes, May 22nd, 2022 on or before 11 a.m. It is a minus tide that day. For those of you that are skippers, it's a 5/10 minus. It's not a really big minus, but those fisherwomen out there and canoe skippers know that when the tide is a minus tide, it can get treacherous. We'll land on Lopez Island at or around the soft landing about 2:00, and then land about 3:00 at Odland Park, and it's right by the ferry. All the ground crew can jump on the ferry. They'll be all set up. They have a great ground crew, and that's a one-day stay, May 22nd. On May 23rd, 2022, which is the next morning, that is a simple, short 90-minute paddle. So we can leave by noon. I'm just saying, if we leave by noon, the skippers will determine all of, depending on weather and whatnot, and land in Friday Harbor. That's a 2-night stay. Okay, so Friday Harbor is the main hub on the San Juans. If you've never been, we'll be staying at the fairgrounds, which is a 3-minute ride from the landing spot, and then 2 nights there, and then the next day on May 25th is the longest paddle of the journey. It's about a 17 to 18 mile paddle to Camp Orcala on Orcas Island. The great thing about it is that the tide is exactly low at 9:15 at Friday Harbor. So they'll have a fair tide going all the way up. I think canoes will probably end up leaving about 8:00 that next day. That day on Wednesday the 25th, and land at Camp Orcala there at or around 4:00 the afternoon. That's a 2-night stay. That is all the that is going to be the most spectacular view. If you've never been to the north end of Orcas Island, that will be a remarkable journey. This whole journey is very historic because we've never done it. And I went and seen Auntie Luti. For those of you that know Auntie Luti Hilaire, she was really glad that we were doing this and following through, because Uncle Smitty and I originally had the idea. And so she was really glad, raising her hands to each of us, and she said that she'll be there. And so she was really glad that we were fulfilling the good work of, that Uncle Smitty. Bless him. We know he's with us, guiding us. And then on Friday, the 27th of May, we'll paddle to Lummi, paddle to what's called Gooseberry Point Fisherman's Cove. It's the ferry terminal to Lummi Island. And that is roughly about a 3-hour pull. If there's any wind coming out of the south, or if it's coming out of the northwest, those of you that know the area, that northwest wind can we can get some pretty good swells coming out from the Straits of Georgia. But again, that'll all be, determined of what time we leave. There'll be a soft landing on Friday, May 27th at Memorial Day weekend. And that'll be when a lot of people are going to come and show up. They work, they're not able to paddle, but we figure that this might be the great return of our ancient potlatches, where we're just coming together to be with one another, to share song and dance. And that soft landing, we hope to be done by 2. We'll have lunch for our canoe pullers, and then
You're breaking up, Freddie. Your audio's breaking up, and your video too, kind of freezing up.
Is that okay? And can you hear me okay, Jeff? No? Okay. And then okay, and then on Saturday, okay, the landing, we're at Friday, Memorial Day, the 27th weekend, and canoes will land about 4:00. We're inviting some arts and crafts, some food vendors. This week I'm reserving the community center. We have a little bit of logistics in fundraising for Santa cans and hand washing stations, sanitizers. But all in all, that's the logistics that's the basics of what we have planned right now. And then Saturday, we have a little bit of work to do. Actually, my family's doing a naming, so we're going to probably start early. Friday night is going to be an open night, so we'll leave it open to the canoe families. If some would like to go and start protocol that night, we will leave that up to the skippers, should anybody be moved to do their protocol that night. And then we'll probably start at 11 the next morning with some work. Again, we have a naming. My eldest aunt, Ruth Solomon, is passing on a name. It's a ceremony. If it's in the community center, there's going to be a part of the ceremony that we will lock the doors, and people won't be able to film or record. It would be a sacred ceremony. And so that's Saturday morning, going into the afternoon, figuring our work would be done about 3. Of course, a lot of you can laugh and say that'd be great to be done by 3. But if and then after that, we'll start protocol. And we know it's a long weekend and there's a lot of traffic. Some of our families are coming from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Our relatives over there just got their canoe in. and our friends from Portland. If they leave on Sunday night or early Monday morning, I'm just going to leave the rest of the weekend open. Um, uh, so that's the basic for our gathering. I'm going to be sending out pre-registration packets this week. If you'd like to put your email, and these packets will be even for hosts. So make sure you put your email. If I don't already have it, can you throw it in the chat? And you could email me directly to at PHREDDIELANE at gmail.com. PHREDDIE lane at gmail.com. I'm making our Facebook pages and our event pages for all the future meetings coming up. We only have, we're getting to the 2-month mark here. So on the 22nd, we got 2 months to get ready. We're going to be hopefully going live with some of our canoe families that are going to do cold water training. And Jeff is going to help me walk through a little bit with the book that he's going to get out to us. I actually wanted to do a round table. I got a list of what people can individually bring as a camper, as a puller, as a volunteer. How can I help? Canoe families are fundraising. They're doing their GoFundMe accounts. They'll have a letter from our group that says, hey, we're going to the Gathering of the Eagles. Gas is $5 and 79 cents a gallon, and we need such and such money to make the journey up to Lummi and then back. And so and then tables at events. We want to clarify too with the pre-registration packets of canoe families that are fundraising for the journey that they're making. And so we're accepting donations to the cause. We're having a vendors meeting next month, late next month, in April, and that'll just be for the vendors that'll be potentially coming to the, and that's food vendors and arts and crafts. I got some food donations. Anybody want, if you get if somebody says, how can they help? I just say, hey, we're making food boxes. In the olden days when somebody held the potlatch, we gave out food boxes to each canoe when they came in. So they put a wreath on, and we bring a food box and gift them a food box in a good way to help them with their stay for the weekend. And so food donations are accepted. We won't be doing anything like eggs and milk and those items until right before the event. We're encouraging everybody to get your food handler's card. You could do it online. It is a good training for everybody. So make sure and that's just for safety. We're still coming. We're in an endemic of COVID, and so we want everyone to be safe when handling food. If anybody has any first aid training that is going to be a part of your canoe, I'd recommend it. We'd recommend it. And again, you just want to make sure that first aid kit is on the canoe all the time. For our friends like Lori out on Waldron Island, we want to make sure that we have emergency evacuation routes. I'm not saying there's going to be a tsunami, but I said it on our journey out when we're up on at each village. What is that route? What are their emergency routes? And again, I'm knocking on wood that it's not going to happen, but we just want to be prepared for all weather. If it's blowing 50 mile an hour through and they're coming to Lummi, they're not paddling. I could tell you that. And we all know what the water is like out there when it's blowing even 30. And so these are just emergency a preparedness that we all need to have. Auntie Luti and I are going to go before the council here before the end of the month and let them know the work that we're doing. Again, Estitipson, I'm just doing the best I can. I'm a one-man show, so if anything goes wrong, everybody could just blame me. And no, I got some great people. Joe Hilaire is going to be our grounds manager. We're getting volunteers to do recycling and garbage disposal. And so, yeah, we again just want to, again, we'll invite, we'll do we hope that at least 5 more tribes are going to come on. And I'm really glad my relative Connie McLeod is with us from Puyallup. And so I guess I could take any questions before we go to, that was a half hour, that was 25 minutes. So any questions? All right, good. No, I'm just kidding. Jeff, shall we go to the book? Connie, did you have a question? There you go.
No, I didn't have a question. I was trying to, I could read you're being recorded. So I was just trying to get back to the video. But good afternoon.
Good to see you, my relative.
Yep.
Is your co-pilot Annie?
Oh my God. Please, that's my co-pilot, Kalina.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you offended her by calling her Annie.
Oh, come on. Jeez. At least I didn't say Julio.
I'd rather be called Julio.
Okay. Yeah. So I can't remember if you said this, but Freddie, can you run down the canoes that have confirmed or are considering coming that you know of?
This is what I have. I have the Octopus Canoe, Carver's Camp with Phil Red Eagle. I have El Lobo. It's the All Nations Canoe family and Sally Cross as skipper from Portland. We have the Hawaiian Voyaging Canoe Society from Maui. They'll be joining us with a 6-man crew and Uncle Kimokeo. We also have the Quiana Canoe family, Matt Wiki from San Juan Island. Then we have my relative Connie McLeod in the Puyallup Canoe family. We'll have a Lhaq'temish, a Lummi West Shore. I haven't talked with Antone if he was going to make it. Let's see. We have Robert Kager from Coeur d'Alene. And then we have Stillaguamish. Is that Sam? I didn't know if Sam was on with us. Sam, he has a Stillaguamish and Samish canoe family. And then did I miss anybody else? Is anybody else confirmed? Carl or Bart?
Yeah, this is Carl. How you guys doing today? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we are discussing. We're excited. We're putting all this together, and Chief Leshai definitely is. I think we're like 99.3% for sure. There's a lot of logistics with the school, but it's looking really good so far.
So Chief Leshai canoe family?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
And we'll meet up with Connie and Bina and our whole group and put together logistics here, hopefully next week.
All right, good. Bart, I don't know if you're with the Canoe family.
Bart's with Chief Leshai also.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Lori, did you have a question?
Yeah, so I'm just assuming that the First Nations from up north are coming also, and that's just a different branch of the organization. I missed the last meeting.
Can I speak to that, Freddie?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so the First Nations are the group that was organizing to perhaps come on this journey. They are deferring to travel through the islands on July 22nd that week. And I don't remember, I should know, but I get kind of confused between these two journeys if they're coming to Waldron. So Jody Simmons has been taking really good notes, and there's a itinerary in there. So if you're in that email list, that'll update you on that one, anybody who's interested. And so I just asked Jody this today, and she doesn't know of any Canadian First Nations that are coming on this journey yet. She suggested that I ask Harry Moon, and actually also Strider, who kind of his organization hosts this Zoom call, this Zoom link. I don't know. That seems like they might be coming because he's always at the meetings to help get it going with the Zoom. So other than that, other than Harry Moon and the Pink Paddle and Strider and his canoe family from Nanaimo, I haven't heard of anybody who's a possibility to come from the Canadian First Nations.
Okay, I'll check in with those people. Thank you.
And two, that's a good question, Lori, because I just don't want people to get confused with the summer paddle. Okay, so I'm right now, my meetings that I'm organizing and putting together by myself is just for the gathering of the eagles. So, but that doesn't mean that Lori, some canoes ain't gonna come over. They just might not go through the San Juans. They might come and just come right to you, stay the night on the 26th.
I want to see them Hawaiians.
Yeah. And so we might be able to ask them to come over and do, because, right from Camp Orcas, you're just a little paddle away, right?
Yeah, basically, it's some of the deepest water in the islands, so the currents are very serious there. And it is quite short. You have to come around 2 points. And I'm glad I'm here today, kind of catching up with what the current situation is. So I'm going to keep moving forward with preparing on Waldron and waiting to see what actually is happening and coming about. I'll just mention I went home and I walked the beach, and unless there's a major west wind or northeaster at high tide, we have really good camping situation.
Good. Yeah, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Carla. Are you guys getting a canoe coming through, Carla? Do you know?
No. I'm in Port Townsend and have helped to host in the past, and I'm just trying to track what you guys are doing. So if there are ways we can be of assistance, we would love to do so.
Oh, that's great. No, geez, we'll get canoes coming from over in Port Townsend there. How cool. Thanks for joining us. Again, this will all be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and it'll be, just type in Gathering of the Eagles, March 19th, 2022. And
I
anybody
put my email in the chat too, so that hopefully I could get emails in the future and keep people. We have a big crew of volunteers here that are happy to help out when we can. So we just want to keep them enthusiastic and informed.
And thank you so much. I'm going to try and keep this under an hour. I'll try and see if I could do a 52-minute meeting, which I haven't been able to do yet. But I'm going to go right to Jeff Smith. He's going to go a little bit over the book, and he's going to be sending this out too. And Jeff, don't forget to drop the chat so you get everybody's email. So if they want to look at your book that you're going to present, that'd be great. So thanks.
Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get the screen share going. So you see that canoe there in the water, right? Okay. So this is for those of you who are not familiar with it, this is the Canoe Journey Handbook that I started doing in 2004 and did it for about 4 or 5 years. And then Phil Red-Eagle and Mark Chiletti were working on a project, and they edited it, revised it to be a study guide also. So we used to make it for each year for about 4 or 5 years, and now they made something is more standalone. So this is the table of contents, and so I guess there's about 40 pages in this version. And I'm going to talk today briefly, if we have time, about page 4, how to pull with pride and purpose, the 10 rules of the canoe. And then page 17 about safety on the canoe journey, and page 24 about suggested equipment checklists. So this is really helpful for people who are just joining the journey, and it's actually could be helpful for experienced people too, to like the checklist or something might help remind you of what to bring, or you can share it with your crew, for instance. It's been used as a textbook in some college classes, and so I guess, so that means it's really good. So, okay, so let me go to page 4, and so how to pull with pride and purpose, the 10 rules of the canoe, which were developed long time ago, I don't know, like in the early 90s at a experiential education conference. So that picture, just in case you're wondering, that's from 2007 at Lummi. And of course, that's me in the red shirt. And then that's my sister who passed away the next year, and my sister Ada McCormick. And then that's my son there, Ravi. He was about 8 years old that year. So, okay. So, so anyways, I'll just briefly go over this. So this is really, the 10 rules of the canoe can help us to kind of have a shared value system for the canoe journey. Not that there's not many other very important values, but this is something that we can kind of put in our heads. We can share with people to help like new people get their head a little bit more into the spirit of the journey. Phil Red-Eagle uses this when he does the copper ring ceremony. He discusses the 10 rules of the canoe. So, so I won't read, of course, every word, but rule 1, every stroke we take is one less we have to make. Rule 2, there's to be no abuse of self or others. Rule 3, be flexible. Rule 4, the gift of each enriches all. Number 5, we all pull and support each other. So, and that's actually, and these rules, as you might guess, they pertain to our life outside of the canoe journey too. They can really make a big difference. Like I was talking to one of my relatives who I get to talk to a lot because he's in jail, and I answer the phone. And I said, it's like, the thing is like, we're not really pulling the canoe together, or I said to him, you're not really pulling the canoe together in our family, because we have to expend resources to help take care of you, and you're not really contributing to our forward motion of our canoe, family canoe. So rule 6, a hungry person has no charity. Rule 7, our experiences are not enhanced through criticism. And the journey is what we enjoy. And a good teacher always allows a student to learn. And when given a choice at all, be a worker bee, make honey. So down there, that has an explanation of where these rules came from. So the QuillU people did a presentation at the Experiential Education Conference in 1990. So these rules they're kind of, you could say they come from almost time immemorial. Not quite, but almost. So I don't know if there's any thoughts or questions or anything anybody wants to say about this.
Hey, Jeff, can we just go right into cold water training? I don't want to take too much time for people, but the importance of, encouraging, everybody should know how to swim if you're jumping on a canoe. Could you talk about that a bit? Thanks.
Yeah, well, even actually, in a ways, I think from my experience, more important than knowing how to swim is wearing a life jacket, whether you know how to swim or not. Because as anybody who's been in these waters, in these cold waters knows, it's like your strength gets sapped quickly. Even a really strong, young, vigorous young man or woman, they'll become weak and, get hypothermia. So that's really important to have that. And that if, I don't know anybody who's drowned wearing a life jacket. And I know too many people who have drowned not wearing a life jacket. Let's see. Oops, I'm sorry. I got to get gone down here. This is so there's some stuff in here about rip currents and hypothermia, how to, take care, like this is how to take care of yourself in the water to keep warm if you have to stay in there for a while. Here is an example of what can happen. See this canoe? It's kind of tipping a little bit. Oh no, they went in the water. And then, man, they're all in there, but they saved themselves. See, they get the water out, and they're getting back in the canoe. So that's what we like to practice. It's really important that you do it. And I would suggest, because the waters are so cold, if you have a warmer lake, do it in the lake. And I think there's one really rich tribe, really nice people at that tribe. They have a swimming pool that they do some of their practicing in. So, so you could do that too, like, practice wearing the life jackets and pulling each other out of the water and stuff like that, even if you don't have a canoe with you. So there's quite a bit of safety stuff in here. There's stuff on first aid. So we strongly suggest, like probably many of us, if we had requirements on the canoe journey, we would say you have to do a cold water safety training before you go out. And many canoe families require that. And even if one or two people get in the canoe and they haven't done the cold water safety training, they jump in at the last minute. It's so much better if, you have most of your crew who knows what to do. Very dangerous. We know that at least one person is drowned on our canoe journey. We don't want any more to drown. And of course, he was not wearing his life jacket.
Hey,
so,
Jeff,
suggested equipment. Yeah.
Jeff,
Freddie.
Can you go to page 23 real quick? I just wanted to see what that said about what to bring. That also, okay, that's cool. You got a checklist right here for your first aid. Okay. Thanks, Jeff. That's great.
Yeah. There's individual and there's a checklist for individual equipment. I would say, I don't think anybody here is probably like so literal minded that they'll go, well, we have to have everything on this list, but it's something to remind you of what you might want to bring. Because if you brought everything on these lists, your canoe would sink probably. So, and then I also put a link for this guidebook in the chat, and I'll send it out too in other places. A link to the PDF online. And then also I put a link for a video that we produced with Ron So, who's a Lummi, he's from Navajo, but he's a Lummi community member, Lummi tribal community member. We did a safety video. So there's a YouTube link for that. And if you watch nothing else, if you have a crew, and especially if you should have yourself and a crew, watch the end of the video where we demonstrate when we tipped our canoe and what we did to get safe again. You know, we videotaped that at a cold water training. So that at least will get people's heads into that space. And, you know, and if you at least discuss these things with the crew, what you're going to do, even if you don't get a chance to get in the water, that makes a huge difference. Just like, you know, before every flight, they do the safety talk. So, so it's good to do a safety talk often with your crew. And so I don't know if there's some thoughts. Is any of the groups thinking of doing cold water safety training this year? Anybody here thinking about doing it?
I think it would be great too if somebody does do cold water training. We were thinking about doing one here and asking Uncle Ron So to help us, and we'll film it. And you know, but I think it'd be great that every canoe, this is just really good to do. We know that every year, sometimes, right, Jeff, we have different canoe crews. And so it's just really good training. I've witnessed it with my relative Connie McLeod and the family there. It's just really important training to, I mean, number one, experience. I mean, it's pretty cold out in the waters, and this just might be one of those years where we have pretty cold waters here in the Northwest. But thanks, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, so anybody else have anything they want to share or any questions? Oh, I don't know. I was just thinking this. I remember I was at a safety training and a young guy said, oh yeah, I don't need to wear a life jacket. You know, he's really strong and tough. Well, here's an idea. If you have anybody who, you know, like says, we don't need to wear life jackets, or I don't need to wear a life jacket, or I can just sit on my life jacket and I'll put it on when I need to. Yeah, right. Nobody does that. Nobody has time to put on a life jacket in the middle of a disaster. But anyways, you could ask them to say, you could say, okay, do 20 minutes. If you can tread water for 20 minutes without holding on to anything in Puget Sound or one of these cold waters around here, then yeah, then you won't need to wear a life jacket. So, and then that'll shut them up. So, okay. So I think that's mainly what I wanted to share on the guidebook and on the video. And I thank you very much for allowing me to share, Freddie. And I'll turn off this sharing.
Okay, Jeff, thanks. All right, any questions from anyone? Hi, Mary.
Hi, Freddie and everybody.
Good to see you, my friend. We're just so you know, Mary, again, we'll have this on my Facebook page. If anybody missed the meeting, they need to hear what we're doing and how we're doing it, and what dates they could recap this. We recap the whole event so that we have updated. That's really all I have. I think for the host, like Lori, some of the islands are going to, if anybody wants to give on the journey through the islands, Lori, they're going through Camp Orcas 501c3. Some of the donations that will be coming through, they want to be tax deductible, and so we just want to let you know that if anybody needs a 501c3, we'd be great. That'd just be helpful should they want to help you on Waldron Island and need that tax deduction there. Jana, you look like you was going to say something.
No, I was just, I'll talk to you soon, Freddie. I'll talk to you this week. Just touch.
Okay, yeah, I want to start planning our clam digging outings because I had a donation of razor clams come in.
I saw that.
Yeah, and so I was like, wow, that's great. I just told my uncle I was hosting the canoes, and he said, well, here, give him these. Nice. So I was like, I was raising my hands, but I think I'm going to try and see if I can get a couple of my friends to come out and go horse clamming.
Okay.
Do you have horse clams up your way?
Yes.
Do you?
But some further out on a lower tide. So we'll get together and figure out some tides. And I've got friends that want to contribute to the canoe journey with clamming to get out there with us also. So I've got a handful of people
that's great. And you know me, I just, because sometimes that red tide moves in like May now. And so we kind of need to get them right now before the red tide. So I just wanted to touch base with you, but yeah, any of the canoe families, you know, it's a good time to start either putting away or going to your tribes and requesting if you need any of the canoe families, you need me to jump on a Zoom meeting and stand with you and share the invite. I know a lot of people aren't going to make it through the San Juans. It's real limited. I just got to let everybody know. If you are a canoe family, our relatives from Puyallup and Chief Leshai School, you want to start putting in your budgets. Remember to reserve your space on the ferry. That's going to be very important. So you know how many vehicles you're taking. And etc. But those Jeff and I and the three of us went over to the island there and just his SUV. That was it's about $75 just for the vehicle. But that's round trip, so you can go to any island and then you come back. So a truck and trailer would be a lot more. I know some skippers like to bring their trailers just in case. But we'll have a shuttle for those that park with our relatives down in Samish, and we'll work out those logistics on the trailers when that time comes. So our next meeting is April 2nd, 2022, 1:00 Pacific. I did get a call from one of our because I've been trying. This is the third time that we're trying to do this. A group from APTN, Aboriginal People's Television Network, and I'm just sharing this with you guys because they want to come and film, and they want to come and witness the work that we're doing with the canoes and the historic journey that we're doing. And so I'm leaving that. I mean, I'm just focusing on our work and hosting each and every one of you and seeing everyone here on Friday, May 27th. But I will be at most of the landings out in the islands. My number is in the chat. If you don't know it, it's 360-391-7560. Again, Freddie Lane, Salceda, 360-391-7560. And again, my email, phreddielane@gmail.com. Freddie with an IE, PHREDDIE, Lane @gmail. And hey,
that's in the chat. It's in the, I put it in the chat too, if you want, if you have, well, some of you won't see it probably, but let me.
I was saying it for the YouTube people. I mean, the YouTube people. YouTube people. Are there YouTube people out there? Okay, sorry. But if there's nothing else, Jeff, you got something?
Yeah, can you tell us what the proposed meeting schedule is for the canoe journey for this? Or and also, it's not a canoe journey and it's limited. So because in large part because the islands have limited capacity. So just to keep that in mind, folks, so that it's not going to be the big end-all canoe journey like we usually have. When's the schedule for meetings, Freddie?
Okay, so here's my schedule. Okay, after today, we still meet every other week. So April 2nd, it's a Saturday, 1 o'clock. We'll try and keep it to an hour. April 16th, 1 o'clock. And April 30th. And the reason why I say April 30th is because there's 3 Saturdays in April. And we're going to have to start meeting every Saturday in May. Right before, if any of the canoe skippers that don't know the islands that might want to come out and just do a 1-day drive out, drive up, and we could tour the islands and come back. It'll be a pretty treacherous day, but at least you could get the visual if you've never been. We might be able to arrange that. I'm doing an orientation I think we'll be doing that one on the 14th and one on the Saturday before the canoe, the Friday and Saturday before the canoes leave on the 20th and 21st. The orientation is going to be real important for all the volunteers, all the skippers, the staff, the safety boats, the security volunteers, the first aid, everybody that's going to have a part in this journey, no matter what island we're at, no matter if you're in Anacortes or on Waldron or in Camp Orcas, and most especially our host team. This orientation will just give you the entire rundown of what is about to take place. And that's real important because I'm not going to keep telling 50 people 50 different times of what's coming. It's going to be that you got to make one of the orientations if you're coming and participating, paddling, volunteering in any of the events. And this just really eases all of our organizers on each island that, hey, Mary Goff is the volunteer coordinator, for security. Joe Hilaire, he's going to raise his hand. Joe is in charge of the ground. You need something on the ground. You need power. You need water. Joe is going to be the man. Here's Cheryl Solomon. She's going to head so I'm going to introduce every single person that's the team leader on my team on the mainland. And then we'll go to Anacortes, to Lopez, to San Juan, and to Camp Orcas and say, hi, hey, this is our team leader. So make sure everybody is just aware. It's just a courtesy for those that are participating, so we all know what to expect. But with that,
one more thing.
Okay.
One more thing, or another thing. So I'm thinking that, there's possibly 3 canoes coming out of the Tacoma area, and that they might talk to each other and see if there's some way to do a cold water safety training in that area. And then that might make it easier, or that Tacoma would be one of the easier places for the Portland canoe members to come up to. And so it's kind of central for basically a lot of these canoes. So just a thought.
Thank you, Jeff. Carla?
I just wondered if there are any updates. At one of the earlier meetings, there was someone talking about they're planning for a beach cleanup where canoes will be involved, and I wondered if there was any place to get additional information about that.
Jeff?
Actually, this is Mary. I can
Mary.
provide an update. Yeah, I have, if you can put your email address in the chat, Phil is helping to organize that beach cleanup, and there's a meeting on March 26th. And I believe that's not one of our meeting dates to start organizing that. So
my info is in the chat under Carla Main, and I'm sure some of our volunteers here at Port Townsend would love to participate in that. So I'll try to, if I can get information about that meeting, I'll try to attend.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Freddie, I was in a training earlier today, and I've been gone for 2.5 weeks. And is there still a need to go to the families that may help host?
Yes.
I can try to work on organizing that.
Yeah, we're talking about, Jeff said, I think when maybe Jeff comes up and Mary, it'd be great to come up. Jeff said he's not leaving anytime soon. That'd be great if you guys can come up. I don't know. I know gas is expensive. But that'd be great to, just go and visit you're right. Let's go and visit. Let's plan that. What date works for you, Mary?
I have limited weekdays, but I could make some available, so the weekends would probably be the best. I could go up there. Our next meeting with this group is the April 2nd.
Yeah.
So
that day works for me. I'm
Jeff, are you available on March 2nd? I mean, April 2nd? Jeff?
Let's do that. We'll go visit our crew. We'll have a meeting with our home crew here right after our meeting. I probably could have like a lunch here right after our Zoom meeting at 1 on April. So we'll say 2 o'clock. Visit host homes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff and Mary.
We'll come ahead, so we'll participate in the meeting at your house.
Yeah, okay. That's about all I have. Siam, Siaya. Anything else from anyone? Burning desires? Thank you. Everybody. Again, if you need to download the chat, I always forget to do that. Okay, so save chat. Okay, chat saved. And we'll look forward to seeing each of you. Love you. Have a good day.